You're watching KCRG TV-9. Now, from your 24-hour news source, this is KCRG TV-9 News at 10.
Walked around and found some electronics missing.
A recent wave of burglaries in Cedar Rapids serves as a reminder to protect valuable items, especially electronics.
But first, spring storms have rocked the Midwest. Snow and ice in some states, deadly tornadoes in others. Here in eastern Iowa, we've had mostly soggy conditions, but in other parts of the state, the weather has been much worse.
Today, Governor Branstad declared disaster emergencies in 10 counties in northwest Iowa, counties that have recently seen some severe weather. The line of storms hitting places like Sioux City began Tuesday. They contained high winds, heavy rains, thunderstorms, even freezing rain. That's resulted in a lot of property damage and power outages. So what's ahead for us and the rest of Iowa? Well, meteorologist Joe Winters has the answer now in tonight's first forecast.
And it looks like things will quiet down on the western part of the state, certainly not severe, and that ice that they saw has now moved off across areas of Minnesota. In fact, as you can see, most of the activity now right along Interstate 35 from Des Moines north, and then as you head toward the northern tier of counties into southern areas of Minnesota. But you do notice that in a pinkish color south of Mason City, right near Decorah, that's kind of a rain-snow mix, and there is some snow falling near the Mason City area into southern areas of Minnesota. Here in eastern Iowa, it's few and far between as far as the mixed precipitation, but we still see some drizzle or light rain south of Decorah all the way down toward Washington. And all of us could get a little bit of that mixed precipitation during the overnight hours. Temperatures hovering statewide right now about 36 to 37 degrees. Not a lot of change expected in our first alert forecast through midnight. By morning, a mix in 31 could cause some slippery travel conditions. And I think finally later tomorrow, most of that precipitation moves out and brings us a dry start to the weekend. But it has been a wet period, and we'll talk about more rain in our first alert forecast coming up next week.
Thank you, Joe. Cleanup is underway tonight after a series of storms socked the Midwest, actually going from the Midwest in Illinois all the way down to the south in Mississippi, where two tornadoes were captured on camera.
The threat isn't over with more rain ahead. ABC's Brandy Hitt has the latest.
It's huge. Look at the cows running.
This monster tornado on the move in central Mississippi destroyed several mobile homes and is responsible for at least one death in Kemper County. Across the country, there have been nearly 300 reports of severe weather as these storms race east, with more tornadoes touching down. Near St. Louis, Missouri, the National Weather Service confirms an EF2 packing winds of up to 135 miles per hour ripped these homes apart.
You could just see the wind and feel it coming.
Things were hitting the house, and you know, the trail was like a train whistle going over us.
And in Arkansas, the severe weather damaged several more houses while also demolishing this church.
Storage building in the woods, saw our roof gone.
Farther north, it looks more like winter. Up to 30 inches of snow fell in South Dakota, a record for this time of year, while parts of Minnesota are covered in ice, leaving families without power and heat.
I'm tired of winter. That's what I think of it.
A destructive start to spring. Many families hope to soon forget.
Brandy Hitt with that report. Remember KCRG TV-9 and the First Alert Weather Team this severe weather season. We have information about the First Alert Weather app, weather call, and weather radios, all under the weather tab at KCRG.com. Also be sure to watch KCRG Weather Now, the area's only 24-hour local weather channel.
Police logs from Cedar Rapids and Marion show at least 6 burglary or home invasion calls just yesterday. KCRG TV-9's Chris Earle talked with one man who was a victim twice and who lost thousands of dollars worth of electronics.
Well, Bruce, we talked with a husband, father of 2 young children in Cedar Rapids, and he has a story that may send you to your iPads, your iPhones, your anythings to write down serial numbers as they can disappear fast. When looking through Wednesday's police reports, we stopped by one house on the northeast side of Cedar Rapids. The man answering the door welcomed us in with quite a story on what happened on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Got home from work on Tuesday and noticed a couple things in the house that were not quite right, and then noticed that there was a door that was ajar.
We agreed not to reveal his name nor his neighborhood, but the list of items missing is on the high end.
We're missing an iPad and also a Nook reader.
After Tuesday's break-in and burglary, imagine what he said happened on Wednesday.
I was actually, going to buy this security bar for our back door to, hopefully make the place a little bit more secure, and came back, and this time all the doors were open on the house, and they had taken our TV.
Police have been telling people for years to track their expensive electronic devices by recording serial numbers.
Well, initially, everything that we do take in, we do get serial numbers on.
Juan Alvarez at Siegel's in Cedar Rapids has seen all sorts of items come through his store. He said they do turn product information, such as those serial numbers, into police each week to see if any matches come through.
Because how many iPhones are there out there, how many TVs are there out there, and how can you identify it as your own unless you have a serial number?
Yeah, we all need to do that, don't we? Also, look towards this time of the year. The weather is warmer, but school's still in, which could mean plenty of empty homes until summer vacation. Police told us burglars often look at two things to gain entry: an open garage door or just knocking on the front door if no one answers, and they start to devise a plan to get into the home.
Simple thing, getting those serial numbers.
Yes, very much.
Thanks, Chris.
Police in Waterloo are investigating a stabbing, the second in as many days. It happened around 5:30 today at 702 West Milan Avenue. Police say someone hit a man in the head and cut his wrists. The victim is expected to be okay. Police believe this is connected to a stabbing in the same apartment yesterday. Police arrested Tiny Queen Bolden after they say she stabbed her husband in the forehead with a butcher's knife. Police in Iowa City have charged 2 people with prostitution. Investigators say 27-year-old Hamed Al-Mahmoud asked 23-year-old Elisa Talbert to come to his apartment for sex yesterday afternoon. The two then allegedly engaged in sex. Then Talbert asked for the $200 payment, and she says Mahmoud hit her. He faces an additional assault charge. According to a criminal complaint, Talbert told police she'd been soliciting in the area as a prostitute for 5 years. Investigators say that's very common on websites like this one, Backpage.com. They say prostitutes often have multiple region-specific web pages and travel the country for their jobs. And there's not much police can do about it.
We try to do as much as we can when we can. Manpower is a big part of it. It takes a lot of people to run one of these stings.
Last year, a prostitution sting in Coralville netted 17 arrests. Police say their #1 priority is stopping the underage sex trafficking of minors.
More youth are going to be out attempting to purchase.
It is prom season for high schoolers, and with that in mind, some students will be trying to get a hold of alcohol. So the State Alcoholic Beverages Division sent out letters this week warning businesses not to sell to minors. But one store director in eastern Iowa says it's important to always take every precaution about that.
It is our job to be legal and to do the right thing, and so it's no different now than it is any other time of the year.
Both businesses and minors can face legal consequences for violating Iowa's liquor laws. That can be a $1,500 fine for a business that's caught selling alcohol to a minor.
In a TV-9 follow-up, the Girl Scout camps will remain open, just not in the same way. The Board of Directors voted today on a plan that would keep the 4 eastern Iowa camps open. They voted to redevelop Camp Conestoga north of the Quad Cities, then sell off any land not used. The other 3 camps will stay open under a scaled-back activities plan. The original plan called for the closing of all the camps because of budget constraints. The group Save Our Scout Camps says this is better than the original plan, but not good enough. Scout leaders say this option is their best alternative.
That we are serving girls and making girls courageous, making girls confident, and helping them with their develop character, and that program is worth investing in and worth sending girls to.
The Board of Directors expects to have the redevelopment project completed by 2015.
The hard work starts now. Those words from Majority Leader Harry Reid after the U.S. Senate won a key vote on tougher gun laws. Coming up, hear why the legislation will still have an uphill battle on Capitol Hill.
Up next, see how Kirkwood Community College is getting Iowans back to work. Stay with your 24-hour news source, KCRG TV-9.
Live from your 24-hour news source in high definition. Bruce Owney, Beth Malicki, Joe Winters, and Scott Sable Sports. This is KCRG TV-9 News at 10.
The rally on Wall Street continues. Today, the Dow Industrials jumped another 62 points to close at 14,865. The S&P 500 rose 5 points. Both are all-time records. The Nasdaq edged up just 2 points. And with the stock market rising, unemployment is declining.
The number of people in America seeking unemployment benefits took a sharp drop last week. Weekly unemployment applications are down 42,000. You can see that is a large drop after 2 previous weeks of gains. It's the largest weekly drop since last November. Economists credit the lower number because more businesses are hiring. Here in Iowa, monthly statistics point to lower unemployment as well. They actually show a 50% decrease in unemployment claims from January to February. And this event at Kirkwood tonight, or rather today at Kirkwood Community College that you'll see in a moment, offers free career workshops in the hopes of getting even more people back to work. They focus on resume writing, application completion, and cover letter basics to get candidates a positive first look from employers.
Overall, I think in East Iowa here is a very positive thing. So, you know, employers want to come out and hire. I think that's the best positive thing you can find.
And coming up April 25th is the Corridor Works Career Fair. Nearly 100 employers are scheduled to attend the fair at Kirkwood Community College.
A big change is happening in the grocery aisle next month. The Roberts Dairy brand will disappear. Roberts Dairy has been a division of Prairie Farms Highland Dairy since 1982. Today, the company said it will use the name Highland Dairy on all milk and dairy products beginning in May. The wind energy industry is growing in the U.S., and Iowa is one of the leaders. Last year, the nation saw 76% more wind energy investments than it did in 2011. The American Wind Energy Association reports that developers spent $25 billion last year to build wind farms. 60% of all the investments came in the last 3 months, right before a tax credit expired at the end of the year. Iowa is third overall for wind power capacity. Iowa gets 25% of its energy from wind power. That's the most of any other state.
Cold wind has been whipping those turbines today, and Joe, another rainy night ahead.
And in some spots, a bit of snow. The winds themselves switching direction. They're going to stay strong tonight as well, and it does appear that we'll see some cooler weather move in as we head toward Friday morning. We'll have your complete first alert forecast next on your 24-hour news and weather source, KCRG TV-9.
Parents gathered in the nation's capital to call for new rear-view safety standards for cars. The families of children who were killed or injured during backover incidents met with lawmakers this afternoon.
Supporters say the federal government needs to require all new cars to have rear-view cameras.
A strong rule requiring rear cameras in all new cars has been proposed, but it hasn't been finalized. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has said that rear cameras are the only surefire way to reduce backover deaths.
In 2008, federal lawmakers required the Department of Transportation to issue standards for addressing blind zones in vehicles, those blind spots, but there are no rear view standards yet. 4 of the world's best-selling car companies have issued a massive global recall involving almost 3.5 million cars. Japanese automakers Honda, Nissan, Toyota, and Mazda have issued the recall because of airbag defects that could injure passengers. The faulty airbags are mostly in 2001, 02, and 03 models.
We just start trying to get people out, and we're pulling them, and we got a few of them out, and then the emergency crews got here.
A charter bus overturned just east of Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas this morning, killing at least 2 people and injuring more than 30. Most of the crash victims are senior citizens. The National Transportation Safety Board is looking into what caused this crash.
Supporters of tougher gun laws have won a key vote in the U.S. Senate. Conservatives lost today in an attempt to block gun proposals from even coming to the floor for debate and a vote. Supporters needed 60 votes. They got 68. Many Republicans and some moderate Democrats, though, still say the proposals go too far, and supporters might still face an uphill battle to approve any major restrictions.
It appears 4 Democratic and 4 Republican senators have reached an agreement on all of the major elements of immigration reform. The legislation would also boost border security and put 11 million immigrants who are in the U.S. illegally on a path to citizenship. This is video of a pro-immigration rally at the U.S. Capitol yesterday.
Up next, Scott has another KCRG TV-9 Athlete of the Week.
And Zach Johnson had a good opening round at Augusta. Sports is next here on KCRG TV-9.